What if I told you that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, Will Smith's blockbuster movie iRobot, and this shiny silver orb all have a link connected to earning passive crypto income? Does that sound interesting? Then you're going to want to watch this video, because in this video I'm going to cover a unique project which is aiming to fight the risk of AI fraud while asking its users to prove that they're human. And in return, it's going to reward you a token that is trading at around $2.50 on all major exchanges. Now, is this all a dystopian fantasy fueled by hungry venture capitalists wanting just to capitalize, creating the problem of AI and then trying to fund the solution? Or is this the solution to the risks of AI? Well, I guess we're going to have to watch the video to find out. In this video, I'm going to cover what Worldcoin is, what they're trying to achieve, how it works, the role of the orb, how users are currently earning money, including, I'll even show you how much I've earned through it, what the privacy concerns of this project are, and the pros and cons. That's it. This is a unique project, a unique video. Let's get straight into it. And as always, all the resources are going to be in the description. So what is Worldcoin? What is the value proposition? What is it trying to get across? Well, if we go to the website, we can see it says privacy first, owned by everyone. So it's hoping to be decentralized, and it's also hoping to be privacy leading. You can see that there are 3 million unique humans that have been verified on Worldcoin, which is quite a huge achievement. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So what is Worldcoin? How did it start? Well, it's been founded by the OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. And that may raise a question in itself that we'll address at the end of the video when we get into pros and cons of this project. The project itself, when it first launched, had a huge success in terms of its funding. It raised $25 million from a venture capital firm in its Series A funding. It got, after its ICO, it got $100 million, and that raised its valuation to a $3 billion valuation. And in Series 3 funding, it got another $115 million from blockchain capital and a couple of other projects that are listed here. So you can tell it's got a lot of firepower behind this project. Now, the project itself has a tokenomics paper, but it is almost impossible to get access to this. You have to change your VPN. You have to use a VPN and change your location. In fact, I had to put myself as I was in Iceland. So I'll leave it up to you as to how you access the tokenomics, but I'm going to go through it here in detail. If we look at the mission as outlined by the tokenomics, you can see that it has a mission, it has a goal to be the world's largest identity and financial network with public utility, giving ownership to everyone. It's hoping that the majority of the tokens are being given to individuals as a reward for being human, that the majority of humans who are alive today will receive WLD, and this points to another point which we'll talk a bit later on, but that's the idea of what they call a universal basic income. When they initially talked about the project, they would talk about universal basic income, but I noticed it's kind of missing, even from the tokenomics paper, from the website. But this idea was that in the rise of AI, there'll be a rise in inequality and exclusion. Very Black Mirror, if you ask me. And they're proposing that Worldcoin could serve as a form of universal basic income. So this is money that's distributed globally, just simply to imbalance the inequality that will arise because of AI. But let's go back to the white paper. So it's hoping that majority of humans alive will receive WLD. That's their vision. They're hoping that alongside World ID, that the token will be used for governance. And they're also hoping that there'll be a foundation, which will be the largest privacy identity financial network. I mean, looking at the tokenomics, you can actually see in the pre-launch phase from 21 to 2023, how majority of the people that they, I don't want to say harvested, but essentially got the data from were developing countries, Asia, Africa, and Latin America, with Europe taking out 17.3%. So areas like North America, for example, in the pre-launch phase clearly didn't feature. Now, when you've got an idea and a promise of free money, especially when you look at the value of the token in these developing countries, it's no wonder that a rush of people would have signed up. So that's something that's worth looking at with regards to this model, and I guess the ethics of it as well. with regards to what they want to do. But as we've seen, and even in the Discord, a lot of people are utilizing this in the Western world too. So what's it trying to achieve? How does Worldcoin work? Well, if you look on the website, it's got a simple breakdown of what Worldcoin is, but let's see if we can get an easier way. So it's broken up into 3 sections. You've got the World ID, which is the digital identity. You've got the Worldcoin token, which is the token itself providing utility. And then you've also got the World app, which has the wallet. It allows you to purchase and transfer these assets as well. What they're hoping, or what they're trying to envisage, is that the rise of AI is causing a problem. And that problem is the lack of identifiable, unique humans. So they call this proof of personhood. And I'm going to go on here because they have a whole page dedicated to it. And what they say here is that increasingly powerful models of AI have become available to individuals. So stable diffusion means that there's a rise in deepfakes. Meta's large language model was also leaked, meaning it can run on a laptop. Previously, there was something called the Turing test, which was a text-based test to identify if somebody was a human. But what it's saying is that with the rise of AI, it's either passed the Turing test, and they've got an example here, or it's very close to doing so, which means that the current system of identifying whether a person is unique, and if they're a human, and if they're one individual, is limited. The website goes on to talk about some of the ways in which proof of personhood exists. So you may recognize KYC, you may recognize online accounts, you may recognize biometrics. I mean, many of us do this right now on our mobiles with our fingerprint in our face. And they say that biometrics is the best form of proving whether a person is human or not. Now, why is this going to be useful? Well, the different use cases we already mentioned is that governments know that you're real. Online platforms know that you're real. If you're doing a giveaway like NFTs, or you're having a one-off product, we already know that if there's a drop of shoes, for example, from Nike or other products, people can pay for bots, buy them, and they can buy out stock. And so it creates an unfair market. There's also a vision of this could even being used for things like voting, where there's been a use of fraud and identity theft in this area. It analyzes all of the current systems that we have for identity, and then it looks at biometrics, and then it looks at the current system of biometrics. The first model, which is what most of us use at the moment, which involves comparing a user's template against a single previously enrolled template. So that's like when you log into your face recognition on your phone or your mobile app, or if you use Binance, sometimes if you want higher limits, it makes you do that. What it says is that this is a very limited form of identifying you. It's very limited, and it compares an individual's identity against a single template. But in their proof of personhood, what they are looking at, it involves comparing a user's template against a large set of templates. So it doesn't just compare your face to your face, it compares your unique identifier to a huge, large, unique set to make sure that there is no duplication. And then it goes on to look at the different ways in which the biometric entities can be used. Now, fingerprints, face recognition, these formats we use every day on our phones. If you've been through the airport, you probably use both of these as well. If you've come in and out of the UK, for example, you can just scan your face and it will match it against your passport. So none of this is new information. But they look at the iris in terms of the biometric modality, and they say that the iris actually has the best it's the most optimal route because everybody's iris is unique. So that's in a nutshell what Worldcoin is. How does it work? Well, we talked about the proof of personhood. How do they ensure that you are a real human? And to do that, they introduce what they call the orb. Now, this orb has been created by Worldcoin. This piece of hardware is not open source, but it has been developed, which apparently costs between $20 to $50 million. So you can imagine this piece of hardware is a serious piece of tech. And what this hardware does is it takes a picture of the iris and it creates something which is at an extreme industry standard. And what it does is it takes that and it converts that into a unique data set. It converts it into a binary data set, a bunch of zeros and a bunch of ones. And so here is a video that I'm showing you of the orb itself in person. Now, I actually visited the office in London when they had a pop-up shop, and you can see it's a very small orb. You can see that it's quite light. And what they do is they lift it to your face and they take a picture of your iris. Now, when they take a picture of your iris, they have the option to either delete the image straight away, or they have the option to store it on the orb and then delete it straight away. So let's talk a little bit more about how people are earning with this. So if you look on the website, you can see that there's a very simple process. Number one, you download the World ID. Number two, you you visit an orb and you verify your identity. And number 3, you claim your tokens. You claim that you're indeed a unique human. So you visit the office, you visit the location that's in your country. And if we have a look on the website, you can find all of the available orbs that are in your location. There are 132 locations at the moment. If I type in the United States, we can see if there are any there. Well, you can see there's quite a lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 7 locations in the United States. Now, there aren't any left in the United Kingdom when I checked last, but when I initially looked at this, there was 2 locations in London. You head up to the orb and you take a picture. Now, you can actually become an orb operator if you believe in this project, if you believe what it's trying to achieve. They'll interview you and then they'll send you an orb, and then you get a portion of crypto based on how many people that you get signed up to this project. One of the live use cases for the Worldcoin app in terms of identifying yourself is that you can connect it to apps. They already have it connected to Discord, Reddit, Shopify, Telegram, and a few other apps here. And all you have to do is you click on it and it allows you to use your World ID to verify yourself. So if you're a server admin interested in using Worldcoin integration for your server, you just click use integration and it will install the bot in your server. So when you've got a number of people that are claiming to be real, but they're causing fraud. Now, I know in the demo, in the Hive Mapper, in the GeoDNet, there have been a couple of examples of people who have joined those as bots basically and committed phishing and scamming. Well, in Discord, you can actually add it, put an integration in, and it will mean that anyone that joins your Discord is real. And it also the same is to you. They've got the same here for Shopify. If you're trying to sell a unique product and you don't want bots to come and buy out your product, the same on Reddit, Telegram, and there's a few other apps on here as well. So this protocol of proof of personhood is actually running. It's not just an idea. You can also see the number of exchanges that the token is on. And as you can see, because of its backing and its funding, exchanges just rushed to list this project. There was no long process in getting involved in that as well. It's also utilized on Trust Wallet and MetaMask. Once you're registered, you go into the app, and I'll show you the app here. The app has the World ID, which you can use, as I mentioned, to verify yourself. You then click on Claim Grant, and you can see here all the grants that have been claimed, all the grants which are due to be claimed. And you can see that the Genesis grant in the beginning of 25 World tokens, and then there's 3 tokens that are delivered. Now, it's roughly 1 a week, but actually if you look at the list that I've got here, it's been 3 World tokens, probably every 10 days. So if you take that over the month, that's 9 tokens over the month. So it's actually more than 1 a week by that standard. Now, if you look here to the wallet, you can see that the tokens are transferable. You can sell them. They're available on exchanges. You can do what you want with them. And so there's an easy process of getting involved in this project. And this is how people are making money with the Worldcoin token. If I show you some of the breakdowns that I have done on Worldcoin itself, you can see that the current price of the token today is $2.23. When I did this analysis, it was $3.50. So adjust it accordingly. Now remember, if you want access to this PDF and the Excel sheets that I've got allowing you to change all of these metrics, I've got a link in the description. It's going to be included in my top 15 passive crypto mining list, and this is the bonus top coin there. But you can see that it was been earning around $31 a day at $3.50 at 0 cost. Now, I say 0 cost financially, but you are giving some of your data away. But if you're somebody that has been giving their data away for free anyway, and you want to monetize that, then maybe that's something that you're looking to go into. Now, the last point that I look at are the privacy concerns. So the orb checks that you're a real human and that you've not signed up before. It does this by capturing and processing images of you and your unique iris pattern. And then you get 2 options. One option is without data custody. What this means is that images of your data never leave the orb. Once it's verified, it automatically gets deleted. That means that none of it actually goes anywhere. And the iris code becomes a set of numbers generated by the orb, and it doesn't get linked to your wallet or your World ID. So all it does is it tells you and everyone else nothing about it. The other option that you have is to have it with the data custody. And that means if you look at the diagram here, that it goes into, if you opt in, it goes into the orb and then it gets deleted. Whereas if you don't, it just automatically gets deleted. So you can see here on this diagram the process in which it issues the World ID. It takes your World app as your key, The orb takes your photo, your humanness is confirmed. Yep, you're not an animal, you're not a plant, you're a human. It gets turned into code. That code is verified, and then you get given your world ID. So they are claiming that the data is private and that it's not being shared anywhere. And in a world where data is being shared and we don't know how it's being shared, that's something that they're trying to leverage on in their project. Finally, let's analyze the pros and cons of this project before you get in, if you even want to. So the pros of the project are, number one, the huge funding and backing behind it. It's not made by a number of anonymous people behind a screen. It's founded by OpenAI CEO, and a lot of people are using ChatGPT and OpenAI products on a regular basis. So it's not as if the company or the person behind it is a scam. But of course, we'll go into the cons about the founder later. Number two, it's well-known and doxed founders. Number three, there is a real use case. In fact, it's already in motion, with it being used on apps like Shopify and Discord and Telegram. The use case is, in a world or in a future with a rise of deep fakes and a rise of identity theft, here is something that is presenting itself as a unique opportunity. Number four, it has ambitious plans, and it's early in the planning. So if you get in now, perhaps you're getting early in a project that eventually governments and organizations and institutions will get hold of. Just imagine at an airport counter that you flash your identity and you're able to get through that way. And lastly, there's no large financial investment. Yes, there is an investment of your data, but there isn't an investment financially. You download the app and you're earning money. And let's finish on the cons. Now, it's the privacy concern. Whilst the project says that the data does not leave the hardware, the orb, well, it's not an open source product. And so what really happens to that? Is it really deleted? Well, you've just got to trust Worldcoin that information is not self-identifiable. The other point on privacy is that whilst itself is anonymous, well, if you connect to an exchange that has a KYC, well, it can eventually be tracked. The second point of a con is the utility. Well, right now, people are earning the coin simply by identifying who they are. And as we showed, 3 million people. Maybe they've accumulated a large amount. So the worry is, will people rush to sell the coin as soon as it becomes profitable? Now, the third point is, it sounds like a utopian fantasy to some people. The idea of a central global currency, a central global passport, people being given a universal income whilst we're sat at home and we're watching our movies and eating our popcorn as the artificial intelligence runs the world. We're just going to be given a stipend of money and we're going to be sat there satiated. There is a concern around this, of course. And the last point is, will the project rug pull when they get enough data? Is it all about just a minimum data set? And once they get that data set, what if they just disband the project? Well, all of these are risks for this project, of course. What is true is that there are millions of people currently that have earned collectively millions of dollars simply for logging into an app and identifying that they're a human. And those cryptocurrencies can be exchanged immediately. And so if it's something that people are looking to make a passive income from, if they're already giving their data away to different entities and this is just another form of doing so, maybe that's something that people want to get interested in. And that's it for this video. If you like this project and you want to watch the top 15 passive crypto minings of 2024, you can click on this video here and subscribe to the channel, because my next video is going to be outlining new, uncovered, not well-known projects of 2024, and it always pays to get in early. That's it from me. I'll catch you soon. Take care.